Have you ever taken a moment to reflect on life and thought, if only I had done things differently? As the years pass, that feeling can become more familiar. The decisions we make in our later years carry more weight than we sometimes realize. They can shape whether we enjoy a vibrant, meaningful life or slowly drift into loneliness, regret, and preventable decline. What's alarming is how often these mistakes begin as minor habits. Small, seemingly harmless choices that, over time, snowball into life-altering consequences. They don't happen overnight, which is exactly why they're so easy to miss until it's far too late. In this video, we'll explore 5 of the most damaging mistakes people often make in their older years. Choices that may look innocent on the surface but quietly undermine health, happiness, and independence. Some of these may even surprise you, not because they're rare, but because they're so common and gradual that they slip under the radar. But here's the good news. Once you know what to look for, you can stop these patterns in their tracks. You can start making more empowering decisions that protect your future, bring joy back into daily life, and help you age with confidence and purpose. So stick with us until the end, because what we're talking about isn't just about steering clear of regrets. It's about building a better quality of life and preserving your independence. Let's dive in, starting with a mistake that affects more people than you might think: neglecting your physical well-being. It starts innocently. A skipped walk here, grabbing takeout instead of cooking something nourishing. Maybe you start sleeping a little longer, moving a little less, or telling yourself it's just a natural part of aging to slow down. But the truth is, most of the physical decline people experience isn't just aging. It's the result of inactivity, poor eating habits, and missed opportunities to take care of your body. Think about those mornings when getting out of bed feels like a chore, or you find it harder to bend down, climb stairs, or walk for long periods. Those aren't just signs of aging. They're messages from your body saying, I need more movement. The body is like a machine. It gets rusty when it's not used regularly. And the older we get, the more important it becomes to keep those joints and muscles working. When we stop moving, our strength fades. When strength fades, our balance weakens. And poor balance is one of the leading causes of serious falls in older adults. A single fall can lead to injuries that take months to heal, or worse, they may never fully heal, drastically altering your ability to live independently. Take Henry, for example. At 74, he still considered himself in good shape. He used to walk every day and cook fresh meals, but gradually he started skipping his walks. At first, it felt like no big deal. But within months, he noticed that standing for long periods made him ache. His legs felt heavier. He lost stamina. When he tried to get back into his old routine, it was a struggle. Even short walks left him breathless. It took him a long time to regain his strength, and he often said he wished he had never let himself stop. Another overlooked area is diet. Many older adults assume that because they eat less, they don't need to pay attention to nutrition anymore. But in reality, aging bodies need more high-quality nutrients, not less. You need more protein to maintain muscle mass, more calcium to keep bones strong, and more fiber to support digestion. Yet so many people default to packaged snacks, frozen meals, or skip meals altogether. Over time, this leads to fatigue, weaker immune systems, and increases the risk of serious conditions like diabetes, heart issues, or cognitive decline. And then there's the matter of regular checkups. Too often, doctor visits become something people avoid unless a serious problem pops up. But many critical health issues, like high cholesterol, osteoporosis, or even certain cancers, can creep in silently with no symptoms at all. Waiting until there's obvious pain or dysfunction often means you're catching the problem too late. The best defense? Being proactive. Staying up to date with screenings and blood work can help catch health issues before they grow into something more serious. The best part? You don't need a complete lifestyle overhaul to make a difference. Just 15 minutes of walking each day can have measurable benefits. Swapping out processed meals for whole foods, even once a day, can boost your energy and long-term health. And strength training doesn't have to mean heavy lifting. Resistance bands or light weights are often enough to maintain muscle mass and keep joints strong. Scheduling routine health checkups and staying on top of your medication or supplements ensures you're doing what you can to prevent avoidable issues. It's not about fighting age. It's about protecting your freedom to enjoy life on your terms for as long as possible. Another incredibly common but deeply harmful mistake is withdrawing from relationships and social life. At first, this withdrawal often feels like a choice, saying no to a gathering, skipping a phone call, assuming friends or family are too busy to visit. But gradually, it can become a pattern, and that pattern can quietly spiral into a sense of isolation that begins to eat away at both mental and physical health. Humans are built for connection. We thrive on conversation, share experiences, and feeling seen and understood. That need doesn't go away with age. Yet, far too many people believe that loneliness is just part of getting older. The truth? It's not. It's avoidable. And more importantly, it's dangerous. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness can be just as damaging to your health as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. It raises the risk of heart problems, weakens your immune system, and increases the likelihood of cognitive decline. Look at Dorothy. She's 76. For years, she had a close group of friends, regular visits from family, and an active church community. But over time, she started assuming others were too busy. She stopped reaching out. She told herself it was better not to bother anyone. Eventually, days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Her phone barely rang. She stopped getting dressed in the mornings. Her spark faded. But one day, she picked up the phone and called an old friend. That one call led to a lunch invitation, then a weekly book club, then game nights with neighbors. Her mood lifted. Her energy returned. She even started sleeping better. The difference? Simple human connection. Another trap is depending entirely on family for social interaction. While family is important, they can't always be your only lifeline. Kids have careers, spouses, children of their own. Expecting them to be your sole source of connection can lead to feelings of resentment or disappointment. It's essential to build a wider circle: neighbors, friends, community groups, clubs. The more diverse your network, the more support and joy you'll experience. Many seniors shy away from technology, thinking it's too complex or unnecessary. But embracing even basic tools like video calls or messaging apps can keep you connected to people across distances. Whether it's sharing a laugh with your grandkids or checking in with a friend overseas, these small efforts can brighten your day and remind you that you're not alone. One of the easiest traps to fall into as we get older is resisting change. After all, you've spent decades figuring out how to live life your way. You've built habits, routines, and beliefs that have served you well. So when the world around you shifts, whether it's the rise of new technology, new ways of communicating, or different social values, it's natural to feel hesitant. Many people think, why should I have to change now? But here's the truth. Refusing to adapt doesn't stop the world from moving forward. It only makes life feel more confusing, frustrating, and even isolating. You might not notice the effects of resisting change right away. It could begin with brushing off new technology, sticking to old habits, or avoiding situations that feel unfamiliar. But slowly, this rigidity can shrink your world. Everyday tasks become more difficult. Relationships start to feel strained, and your independence can quietly slip away. Change isn't just a part of life. It's what keeps us growing, evolving, and connected to the world around us. Take Albert's story. He was 78 and proud of his simple lifestyle. He used an old flip phone, paid bills by mail, and avoided anything that required learning a new trick. But as time went on, he started noticing that he was missing out. His grandchildren communicated through group chats and social media. His bank moved most of its services online. His doctor began offering video consultations. One day, when a check went missing in the mail, he realized he needed to adapt. With help from his neighbor, he got a smartphone. At first, it was frustrating. But with practice, he learned to send texts, join video calls, and even order groceries with few taps. His world opened up. He felt more connected, more confident, and surprisingly more independent. Technology isn't the only area where resisting change holds people back. Many seniors continue eating the way they did in their younger years, ignoring modern nutritional advice that could support their aging bodies. Some still rely on outdated home safety setups, unaware that simple modifications could make their home safer and more comfortable. Others reject newer treatments or health practices simply because that's not how we did it back then. While loyalty to tradition is admirable, it can also prevent you from embracing tools and ideas that could enhance your quality of life. And then there's the emotional side of change. The world your children and grandchildren live in may feel foreign. Their values, language, even their humor might not always make sense. But rather than judge or retreat, leaning in with curiosity can create bridges instead of walls. Accepting that younger generations see the world differently doesn't mean abandoning your own values. It means creating space for mutual understanding. When you choose to stay open-minded, you keep the door to love, laughter, and connection wide open. Adapting isn't about giving up who you are. It's about staying flexible enough to live fully in the present. The more open you are to learning and evolving, the more engaged and empowered you become. And no matter your age, growth is still possible. In fact, it's essential for your continued happiness and self-worth. Now let's talk about another deeply impactful mistake: mishandling finances. It's something few people want to discuss, but financial struggles in old age can be emotionally draining, stressful, and in many cases, completely avoidable. You might think, I save enough, I'm done worrying about money. But retirement doesn't mean you can stop being financially responsible. In fact, smart money management becomes more important than ever. One of the most common problems is underestimating how much you'll need for medical care. Health expenses often increase dramatically in later life, and even if you're insured, there are gaps: prescriptions, therapies, equipment, and potential long-term care costs. If you're not prepared, these can drain your savings faster than you expect. Take Richard as an example. At 72, he felt confident in his retirement fund. He took vacations, bought expensive gifts for family, and dined out regularly. He believed he had earned the right to enjoy his money, and he had. But he didn't account for rising healthcare costs, inflation, or the possibility of needing long-term support. By his late 70s, his savings were dwindling. Medical bills were piling up. He had to start relying on his children for help, something he had always hoped to avoid. He later admitted that had he been more cautious and realistic early on, he could have extended his financial security without sacrificing his lifestyle. Another major misstep is failing to adjust spending habits after retirement. You may not be earning anymore, but you're still spending, and sometimes more than you realize. Without a clear budget, it's easy to lose track. Small indulgences can quietly eat away at your savings. The mindset of, I deserve this, is fair, but it should be balanced with, will I still be okay 5 or 10 years from now? There's also the danger of financial scams. Unfortunately, seniors are often targeted by scammers because they're seen as more trusting and less familiar with online safety. These scams aren't always obvious. They come as fake phone calls from banks, misleading emails, or people pretending to be from government agencies. Some even pose as helpful financial advisors or long-lost relatives. The losses from these scams can be devastating and often irreversible. That's why staying informed and cautious is critical. Don't hesitate to ask for a second opinion before making big financial decisions. Review your bank statements regularly. Avoid sharing personal information over phone or email unless you're absolutely sure who you're dealing with. And if something feels off, it probably is. Trust your instincts. Being financially secure in old age isn't about being wealthy. It's about being wise. It's about creating a realistic budget, planning for future expenses, and protecting yourself from unexpected risks. Even if you feel like it's too late, small changes now can make a big difference later. Maybe it's canceling a few unnecessary subscriptions, downsizing to a more manageable home, or shifting to more affordable hobbies. These decisions don't mean giving up comfort. They mean preserving it. And one final point on finances: it's okay to ask for help, whether it's from a trusted family member, a certified financial planner, or even a community resource center. Getting support doesn't mean you failed. It means you're serious about your future. As we begin to wrap up this part of the discussion, think about how these patterns, resisting change and mishandling money, are deeply connected. The more resistant we are to learning new skills or tools, the harder it becomes to manage the modern financial world. And the less we manage our finances, the more vulnerable we become to stress, dependence, and lost opportunities. It's a cycle that feeds itself, but you can break it with awareness and action. Everything we've talked about so far comes down to one simple truth. Your later years are still your life. They are not the leftovers of your youth. They are not a waiting room for decline. They are rich, valuable, and full of possibility, if you're willing to nurture them. There's one mistake that often goes unnoticed because it doesn't show up on any test, scan, or chart, but it can have just as much impact on your health and well-being as physical illness or financial stress. It's the slow surrender of your mind and spirit. When older adults give up on personal growth, stop setting goals, or let go of the sense of purpose, something inside them starts to fade. Life becomes smaller. Days feel longer. Energy and motivation start to slip, but this doesn't happen all at once. It's a quiet shift, a gradual disengagement, and before you know it, you're just going through the motions instead of truly living. Many people assume that after retirement, after raising children, or after decades of work, the chapter of purpose is over. But the reality is, your sense of purpose doesn't disappear just because your title changes or your calendar clears. In fact, having something to look forward to, a project, a passion, even a small goal, can be the very thing that keeps your mind sharp, your emotions balanced, and your spirit alive. The human brain was designed to grow. It's wired for curiosity, for discovery, and for meaning. The moment you stop feeding it, it begins to shrink, not just in size, but in spark. It's easy to fall into a routine of passive living, watching television all day, sleeping more than you need, letting the days blur together, with nothing to mark them. But life is not meant to be endured. It's meant to be experienced. And age doesn't take that right away. The only thing that takes it away is believing that your best years are behind you. Take Linda, for example. She retired at 70 after decades as a nurse. At first, she enjoyed the slower pace. She had her shows, her tea, her newspaper. But something was missing. She found herself forgetting small things, losing interest in conversations, and feeling less like herself. Her family noticed it too. Then, almost on a whim, she signed up for a painting class at the community center. She had never painted before. She wasn't even sure she'd enjoy it. But within weeks, something shifted. She had a reason to get up in the morning. She made new friends. Her focus improved. Her mood lifted. She wasn't just filling time. She was thriving again. Mental stimulation doesn't have to be academic or complicated. It can be as simple as reading a new book, learning a new recipe, writing your life story, solving puzzles, or even exploring a topic that's always interested you. The key is to challenge your mind just enough to keep it working and growing. That effort, no matter how small, has a huge ripple effect. Studies show that mentally active seniors have better memory, slower cognitive decline, and even lower rates of depression. When you give your brain something to do, it thanks you by staying sharper for longer. But beyond stimulation, there's something deeper, purpose, that sense that you still matter, that you're still contributing something meaningful to the world. Purpose can come in many forms. It could be helping others, volunteering, mentoring, supporting a cause. It could be creating something, writing, crafting, gardening. It could be exploring, traveling, researching your family history, learning a new language. The actual activity doesn't matter as much as the feeling it gives you. Does it light you up inside? Does it make you feel needed, useful, or excited? If so, that's your purpose calling you back. The danger comes when people convince themselves that they're too old to start something new. They believe that learning or changing or dreaming is for younger folks. But that's simply not true. Some of the most remarkable people in history accomplished great things in their later years because they never stopped believing that they could. It's not your age that limits you. It's the decision to stop trying. As long as you're alive, there's still something more you can learn, do, give, or experience. Even if mobility is limited, even if energy is low, even if life looks different than it once did, you can still find purpose. It can be as humble as calling someone who needs to hear a friendly voice, writing letters to your grandchildren, growing a few herbs on your windowsill, recording your wisdom for future generations. The beauty of purpose is that it doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to feel meaningful to you. One powerful exercise is to ask yourself, what makes me feel like myself? Is it helping? Is it creating? Is it connecting with others? When you find the answer, look for small ways to build that into your days. Purpose is like a flame. It doesn't burn out in a single moment. But if you don't tend to it, it gets smaller. And if you start feeding it again, it glows brighter than you might expect. The people who age well aren't necessarily those with perfect health or lots of money. They're the ones who keep engaging with life. They stay curious. They stay involved. They keep learning, laughing, contributing. And they understand that growing older isn't a slow goodbye. It's a new chapter with its own kind of richness. Now that we've explored these 5 common but damaging mistakes, it's time to reflect, not with guilt or regret, but with clarity and intention. Maybe you've recognized yourself in some of these patterns. Maybe you caught glimpses of these habits in someone you love. That's okay. The most powerful part of this conversation is not about what's already happened. It's about what you do next. If you've been neglecting your body, now is the time to start moving again. Don't aim for perfection. Just aim for progress. A short walk, a few stretches, a bit more water, and a little less sugar. If you've been drifting into isolation, make one connection today. Call an old friend. Wave to a neighbor. Say yes to that invitation. If you've been resisting change, take one step toward learning something new. Ask for help with technology. Try a different routine. Be open to a new way of thinking. If your finances feel uncertain, take a deep breath and start tracking your spending. Talk to someone you trust. Cut back where you can. And if you felt like life has lost some of its color or direction, start small. Reconnect with what used to bring you joy. Try something unfamiliar. Give yourself permission to grow again. Because at the heart of all of this is one simple truth. You're not done. You're still here. And as long as you're here, you deserve a life that feels vibrant, meaningful, and truly yours. Aging isn't something happening to you. It's a journey you're still part of. And the choices you make today, right now, can reshape the days, months, and years ahead in ways you might not even imagine. So, here's the gentle challenge. Choose better. Choose movement. Choose connection. Choose curiosity. Choose protection. Choose purpose. And above all, choose yourself over and over again. Because when you do, you don't just avoid the mistakes that can quietly destroy a life. You actively create a life that feels worth waking up for every single day. Thank you for spending your time with us today. We hope something here spoke to your heart. If you learned even one thing that made you pause, reflect, or feel inspired, we'd love to hear it. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. Tell us what you're going to start doing differently or what advice you'd give someone younger than you. Your wisdom matters, and someone else may need to hear it. And if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe, like, and share this video with others.